Welcome to Tech Talks. I'm your host TJ, Operations Manager at Interstate Pest Management. Here in the Pacific Northwest, the fall season brings a variety of exciting seasonal insect activity, including changes in stinging insect behavior, termite swarming, and the notorious fall invaders. However, many insects and other pests can enter our homes this season in search of winter habitat. I first want to identify resources that various pests could be attracted to. Next, I need to locate where they can get into the home. While I am looking for these conditions, I am also looking for evidence that pests are already on or in the home. The fall months are a critical period for mice and rats. They are not only in search of food to survive, but they also need shelter. Their summer habitats are about to get cold and wet, and predators are going to become more desperate for alternative food sources. This drives commensal rodents like house mice and Norway rats to search for safer refuge. Once they find a comfortable winter hiding spot, they will use lawn clippings, fabrics, paper, or fiberglass insulation to further insulate them. All these resources can be addressed at home this fall to reduce rodent pressure in the coming months. All living creatures need water. This includes wood-decaying fungi that cause rot. Rot belongs to a group of pests known as WDOS, or wood-destroying organisms. When moisture is introduced to our homes, this will attract WDOs, big and small. Wood-destroying insects like termites, powderpost beetles, carpenter ants, and others will take advantage of these conditions and increase the damage done by water. Here in the Pacific Northwest, October can be the perfect time to start looking for water where you don't want it. I previously mentioned fall invaders. You may know them as brown marmorated stink bugs, western box elder bugs, multicolored Asian lady beetles, and cluster flies. They are often referred to as overwintering insects, and they need only one thing to survive the winter, and that's shelter. These insects all approach winter in their adult form. They don't need food, water, or reproductive partners during this time. Fall invaders go through a process called diapause, which can be thought of as hibernation for insects. During this process, their metabolic activity is suppressed, so the insects don't need a lot of energy to survive. They can also survive very cold temperatures while in this state by using glycerol as antifreeze to prevent cell and tissue damage. They overwinter in homes through small cracks and crevices and will occupy void spaces such as walls and attics. This harborage protects them while they sleep. Now that you have identified the potential sources for winter pest infestations at your home, they need to be addressed. Sealing pet food and putting away bird feeders can help keep mice and rats out of it. There is no perfect container, but I find that rubber or plastic containers with a lid work the best. Clean up your garden shed or garage of easily accessible nesting material or food. Remember, rodents can use paper, string, and other materials to insulate their nests. Drain any standing water and clean out your gutters. Make your house as unattractive to pests as possible. There will always be something you cannot control, but making these adjustments limits the reasons for pests entering your home. Today, I'm looking at a home in Southwest Washington State to identify vulnerabilities and to provide the homeowner with recommendations for winter-proofing their home. Let's begin by exploring what attracts these pests to your home, how to keep them out, and how to deal with them when they get inside. When I walk around a house like this, I'm generally looking for three things: conducive conditions, entry points, and evidence that activity exists. I always check foundation vents. A damaged screen can serve as a front door for mice, rats, or even wildlife like raccoons, skunks, and possums. These screens should be tested for strength and repaired if you notice any gaps greater than a 1/4 inch. The rule of thumb is that an opening the diameter of your pinky is sufficient for mice to enter, and an opening the diameter of your thumb is sufficient for rats to enter. In the industry, we say a 1/4 inch for mice and a 1/2 inch for rats. A perfect example right here, where both sides of this vent have gaps where I can even stick my fingers into. And if I can stick my fingers in there, a mouse will have no problem squeezing his body into it. Here's a perfect example of utilities running through the outside of the structure. This one looks okay, but I can already see that there's potential for gaps to occur right here around where they tried to caulk or seal around the utility. Crawl space doors located on the exterior of the home should also be inspected. If the door does not seal tightly, this needs to be addressed. If the frame has gaps around the edges, they can be filled with steel wool, specialty caulks, or adjusted to achieve a uniform fit. Check your garage door seals too. If you see light, rodents see an opportunity. They use their vibrissae to detect slight changes in temperature and air pressure. Many people don't realize that their garage can provide easy access to other parts of the home. They will enter the wall behind an electrical panel, squeeze through gaps around a furnace, or just come in through a door that has a gap. Clogged gutters not only provide leaf litter and organic decay, attracting numerous pests, but the water alone can contribute to issues of rot we discussed earlier. Fascia boards, sheeting, trusses, and other lumber can absorb moisture from gutters when there is regular exposure or saturation. Construction gaps exist on every home and can be the hardest to spot and even harder to fix. Construction gaps are any area where the building materials are not perfectly squared or flushed and create openings for pests. Construction gaps are common around the bird blocks and soffits, at the sill plate on top of the foundation, and in dormers. Finding these gaps often requires a trained eye and some tools. Nevertheless, these openings often serve as the primary pest entry points, and effort should be applied to finding and fixing them. I like to check the siding as well. If there's a gap between the siding and the sill plate, mice are able to climb up and over the top of the sill plate, and then they can get inside the crawl space that way. Unfortunately, keeping insects out of the home is a bigger task because these insects can squeeze through incredibly small openings. It is unreasonable to think that you will successfully keep all insects out of your home. For the fall invaders, the more we keep out, the better off we will be. Soffit vents can be retrofitted with 20 mesh screen. Doors, windows, and siding should be caulked and painted often to keep them weatherproof and tightly sealed. Window screens and door weather stripping must also be maintained to keep the home in optimal condition. Imagine you followed all the previous recommendations only to find mice already made a home in your crawl space. Or let's say you did all the termite prevention steps, but your house is inundated with swarmers. Now what? Tech Talks plans to provide informative content for each of these various situations. The short answer is there is a lot you can do. The reality is every situation is different. Every insect and rodent population at every house is going to be there for a different reason, find different entry points, and occupy different winter harborage. The solution to your mouse problem or your box elder bug problem might be different from your neighbors. Here are a couple of things to remember. The fall invading insects will not hurt you and will not damage your home. So don't set the place on fire because you found a cluster of ladybugs on the ceiling. A vacuum is usually sufficient for removing these annoying insects. The bottom line is that while these pests can cause some strife this winter, there are things you can do to help. A little prevention now saves you from a big headache later. Because once they get inside your home, the solution gets more complicated. And if you'd rather have the pros handle it, give us a call. You can find Interstate Pest Management by visiting our website at interstatepest.com, and we'll provide the information and assistance you need to rest easy. Check out our other Tech Talk videos for more helpful tips for living pest-free. Smash that like button.